you know what?
So today we have Marta Sauret Greca. Welcome, Marta.
Thanks for having me. Good job on saying my name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always
Holding
chicken
my
out
breath.
when I do my podcast, I always chicken out and I'm like, and I'm gonna let my guests introduce themselves.
So I don't mess it up.
Yeah.
So we've been wanting to have you on the show now for a while, and I'm so glad that we connected. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. The my one claim to fame that I like to say is I'm very proud to tell everyone that I have 7 kids, and they range from ages. My oldest is 17, the youngest is 1, just turned 1 a few months ago. And I am a financial rep. I help families account for every dollar, how to grow it and how to protect it. And through that journey, also raise their wealth consciousness. And I also have a content creation business.
Nice. So let's start there with the 7 children.
Definitely.
Because I have 4 and I'm like, ooh.
And
So
I have 2,
yeah.
and I'm like, woo,
Yeah.
two.
So whenever I hear anyone who just has like one child, or I'm like, you have no idea. Like, so tell us how you do everything with 7.
How do you balance it all?
You don't do everything and you don't balance it all, right? You are totally okay with sometimes being a complete shit show and knowing that you're not going to remember everything. And I know that is a cliche and everybody says it, but you get really good at asking for help. Like, when I look around in the kitchens, like the floor needs cleaned, the garbage needs taken out, the dishes need done. Your first inclination might be like, all right, let's do this. But I'll like text the teens and be like, Milo, come down, do the floor. Mira, come down, do the dishes. Micah, come down and do the wiping. And then, if the laundry overflows, which it does every single day, um, we just get all hands on deck. And today I was mopping the floor with a toddler. He wasn't doing a great job, but we're singing songs, we're rhyming. My 8-year-old's doing the dishes, and that's kind of also the rule. He's like, "Can I make a smoothie?" I'm like, "Before you make a smoothie, you got to do all those dishes in the sink." Um, so it's really a communal effort, and I think that a lot of things that maybe other families might think is a big deal, they're not even on our radar in terms of level of priority and importance.
So what is your priority importance when you have a family that
Family time, internal peace, and connecting with one another. The on the bottom is definitely activities, summer camps, and filling up the calendar with things. And I believe that I am the best person to nurture and educate my children, and my husband and I, and we are the primary source of those values and morals. And I've tested it all out in terms of all the schools, all the activities, all the summer camps. And I still come back to the best summers are when there is nothing planned and we get up whenever and we do whatever every single day. And same with school.
I agree with that because I know a lot of people and they're constant like their kids have to be involved in everything
Mm-hmm.
all of the time. And it's like, and I remember thinking that I had to keep up with that and that I had to do that too. And I'm like, this is so exhausting. It's not
Yeah.
enjoyable for any of us.
And everybody's exhausted. And there's one thing to be said if the child is really passionate about this and you want to support their dreams and their goals. But I do find that a lot of times the inclination in families is, oh, we just had a dance party and you love that. Let's sign you up for dance. You just climbed up that monkey bar. Like, you must like gymnastics. Let's sign you up for gymnastics. Or a child is like, all of their friends are doing an activity and they're like, are you going to join? And the child's like, yeah, I'm going to join. And now all of a sudden the parent is going crazy trying to find the right shoes and fitting practice in their schedule when they have so many other things going on. And it's really that level of discernment, and feeling into, is this the right move for our
I
family?
wish I
I
had
agree.
listened to that. I wish older now, and now that my kids are older, I have figured that like I don't give a shit to be like keep up with the Joneses, right? Like I don't care. I wish I had. I put myself through such hell of
Right.
like being like, oh my gosh, that parent is doing it. I'm not at their level if I'm not doing it.
The amount of time that I forced my now I know autistic daughter into situations when she just wanted to cling on to me, thinking it was good for me to force her physically into roomfuls of strangers to do an activity because society told me this was good for her, when in my heart I was heartbroken, you
Yeah.
know? it did allow her to face her fears. But it took me so long to figure out, oh, I don't have to force you out into the world to feel like you're going to be prepared for it. I can curate a world. You can curate a world that works for you.
And what's good for one family might not work for another family.
What's good, exactly. There are
What's
families
good for one child might not work for
exactly,
another
yes.
child. I mean, even my kids, I look at them, they're both so different.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I
Right.
think you said it right. Society has put these rules and expectations on people,
Right.
and we try and meet them instead of being like, I make my own. That what's
Right.
right for me. So
That's kind of the expectation, right? They go to school, they get good grades. I don't care about grades. They go what? They need to go to good college, get a good job. What summer camps are they going to? What activities are your kids in? These are like regular small talk
yeah,
memos, and it's like, the amount of times that I've had conversations with parents who are like, because you got to keep them entertained. No, no, you don't.
Right. Well, and I think kids grow up so fast, and what's so important is really making those memories and the connection with your
we
kids.
were
And when
just
kids
talking about
are
that. It
in a
goes
lot of
so
different activities and they're always running, how are you really connecting with them?
quick.
Or
Yeah.
letting them connect with each other, even as siblings, if they're never around because they're always this one's in this activity, this one's in this. My
Right.
kids, I always tell them if they want to be in something, one activity per season.
Yeah.
I will not let them
Right.
overwhelm their schedule. I don't even think it's good for their mental health. I think they need
And
downtime,
some
just
kids
like we need downtime.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need downtime.
Some kids thrive on that. Some families thrive on that. Some
Yeah.
families don't want the downtime.
Right.
Some families really struggled through COVID. I was my happiest self. I hate to say it, but and as I say this, of course, that subliminal, subconscious mom guilt is like, am I then not doing enough for the kids? And the best measuring of that, of whether you're being a good parent or not, is if you're worried about whether you're messing your children up, likely you're a good parent. If you're constantly consciously thinking,
The
am
fact that
I
we
doing the
care.
best for them? Or am I messing them up right now? Am I doing enough? Maybe people are hearing this and thinking that Marta's lazy. Obviously that imposter syndrome comes in. But a coach that I have worked with in the past said, if you're thinking that subconsciously, chances are you're doing a really good job because you're thinking about it. And you're worried about what is the best of your kids as you're making these decisions, as much as it is so important to think about what's the best thing for mom, because we are the head of the household.
Right.
At least
And if we're not okay, our kids are not going
Nobody's
to be okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they feel into that. When I'm cranky, when I'm tired, that ripples through the household like fire. And when I'm in a good mood and I'm dancing and making rhymes while I'm mopping with the toddler, and everybody's happy, maybe
I
not
was
the
gonna ask you,
trying to sleep, but
do you have your crash out moments where you're like,
oh yeah.
How do you deal with those crash
Yeah,
out
what do you
moments?
do?
In those heated moments when you're feeling like, all right, I'm gonna
Run
lose
away.
it. Yeah.
Well, I think you pre-charge. I know that it's important for me on Sundays, and my family knows it, my friends know it. For the most part, I try to be completely unplugged from my phone. And there are Sundays where you'll catch me on it because I grabbed it real quick to use it as a remote, and then this text message came through, and then it becomes like, if you give a mouse a cookie. So I do try on a Sundays to come. There's no plans. There's no expectations of me. We don't do chores. The kids know you don't have to do chores on a Sunday. My phone is put up on a shelf, turned off, do not disturb, whatever, out in the car so it's harder to reach. Because you want to pre-charge and get ready for the week. And also, last Thursday I asked Jenny, "Hey Jenny, I'm coming out to Erie. What restaurants can I go to?" And just spending that time, even with my teenagers, is a totally different relationship than my babies and my toddlers and my 8-year-old, my 10-year-old. And it was divine to spend the day with just sitting on the beach reading for a day. And then going out for dinner and with just the teenagers. But yeah, on those crash out moments, it's like, I'm going to my room, guys. I'm just gonna go to my room. And it's lovely to have teenagers because, hey, Milo, keep an eye on Maverick. I need to go to my room for a little bit. And they get it. I'm like, I'm done. I need alone time. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't bother
Do you
mom.
have any daily rituals that keep your peace, your center, keep you in balance? Anything you do on a daily
I
basis?
used to, but I do have like we touched on, every child is different, every baby's different. I've gotten easier, but I don't even like to use that word because then I feel like that puts a judgment on what babies are supposed to be, but whatever. I've had situations where I was able to get up hours earlier to do my meditation and my reading and my journaling and all that stuff. But this current baby just does not sleep at night still, even at a year old. He still wakes up 2, 3 times a night. He's up at 6:30 a.m. But I guess my ritual now that I think about it is at night. My husband comes home from work at 8:30. And I leave and I go to the gym and I have this unlimited membership to this hot yoga studio, and it's like the best thing that's ever happened to me. I do the yoga and then I do my tapping afterwards. I do a guided meditation with my earbuds in, and then I drive home and I go straight to bed like I'm like a sack of potatoes.
How do you two find time for your relationship outside
Yeah,
of
it's
Well,
tough.
like you just said, like
Yeah.
he comes home at 8:30, I'm out the door to do this. So it's like in
And 7
passing.
kids. I mean, how
Yeah.
do you even talk?
So my husband is a night owl. He and I am not. And so we are like passing ships most days of the week, but that Sunday he's home. He's also not available for work. He's also, even if he tries, like he's like, I'm gonna go to the store. I'm like, oh no, you're not. If you wanted to go to the store, you should have done that during nap time. Now these babies are awake. If you want to go to the store, you are taking them with you. It's like, and he's like, but we need something, like I need to make dinner. And I'm like, well, that's the deal. So we're very like, we hold each other accountable to that Sunday, and we spend the whole day together. And then for him and I mean, again, we have teenagers, so just this morning, like right before this call, we were like catching up, and the teenager had the baby. And I'm sorry, he's barking. Anytime you hear the dog bark, just take a sip of your coffee if you're drinking it. He's quite a character, that
That's so is my dog.
Calling me your husband. I'm like, okay.
Well, that too, but he knows it. And
But you had to have those hard moments though, where
oh yeah, remember I was telling you guys, I chat GPT'd our conversation last week because I'm unhinged, but I will be completely honest and open about that. When you are two entrepreneurs and so much is unpredictable, especially in his industry, the land development industry, there's so much drama. I don't know if you guys have ever watched those gold digging shows on Discovery Channel, and there's all this drama. That's the land development business. And when you're both entrepreneurs and you have 7 kids, there's going to be explosive moments when you're both at a 2, and maybe he came home and he had a really stressful day and I didn't know that, and he came home and I had a really stressful day, and I want him to hear me and he wants me to hear him, but we both had really crappy days. Yeah, that can get tough, but we deal with it and we're good. We've been together for 23, 24 years now. Yeah. We've been together since I was a teenager.
So do you do date night? Or I know Sundays you said that you kind of prefer, it sounds like family time and for you and your husband to connect. Do you do any date nights or?
Yeah, and again, that's where the teenagers come in handy, and we feel safer if the babies are already in bed. So that'll be like an 8:30 thing on a Saturday where we might go to a movie, or we might go ice skating, or we might just after the kids go to bed, just have some really yummy snacks and drinks and watch a movie together, or a show, or probably like a Dateline documentary, and like, coaching each other on never speaking to the police without a lawyer type.
What advice would you give somebody that's married, they have kids, to keep that
because
that relationship alive?
Most people relationships, well, because people change within relationships. So, and I feel like a lot now today, people would rather leave than work on something and reconnect. Right. So how have you
it's
done
not
that?
easy. Right? Yeah.
No.
I mean, we've had those moments where like I've wanted to leave, because again, you've been together for 23 years, but I don't know, you just work through it, and you just don't take anything or anyone or like any moment too seriously, and you remember that everything's figure outable, and that you have to, again, remember that that person is a person and they've gone through a whole experience. And what those 4 laws of agreement, what is that book called?
The 4 agreements? Like, don't think
the 4 agreements.
Personal.
Don't take anything personal.
Be curious, not judgmental.
Yes.
There's 2 more.
I don't remember, but I have it actually.
I know, I was looking too. I have it here
So,
somewhere
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, you don't take anything personal. I know that my husband is being a jerk. That is not about me.
Yeah.
That
That's,
it,
I think
because
that's
I'm too perfect and awesome. No, I'm just sometimes it is about me. For the most part, though, how he receives me is there's a lot of different factors at play. You know, did he get enough sleep? He does have a sleep disorder. Did he feel disrespected at work by other people? And and that carries into the home. So then if if that's the kind of day that maybe he's had and he comes home and I'm being disrespectful, then he's going to receive that differently as if he had a really good day with all the wins, and everything is relative and you can't take anything personally.
Well, it sounds like you and him, though, are both on a path to good communication, though, and personal growth. It sounds like he's on that path as well,
Yeah, and we really
just from hearing you.
balance each other out. He's very careful, detail oriented. Everything he says is really thought out. He pauses, he considers all different routes and options and scenarios where I'm like fly by the seat of your pants. I'll say whatever, whenever, no filter. I will face confrontations with love. Like I don't have a problem telling people how I feel, but I always do it from a place of love. And so I know that it's not going to be a confrontation. And I know that nothing anybody can say to me is going to turn into a confrontation if you don't let it, if you
Right.
just receive it and just turn it, look at it. So yeah, we're complete opposites. And it's kind of like the Notebook, that scene at the end where he's like, what do you want? I'm like, but I don't know what the quote is, like, we're going to piss each other off and you're going to do something that's a pain in the ass and then we'll get over it and then you're going to do another thing that's a pain in the ass. But, that's marriage. And I think that's just, I don't know, that's just marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
So, wealth consciousness, you are in that business. How would you say somebody can change their relationship with money?
I find that there are three top behaviors that keep people poor. Number one is burying their head in the sand and not looking at their finances. The amount of families who just don't know whether they have the money that they're spending, and then there's just that underlying stress behind every time they're spending money, or they don't know what to invest. They don't know if they have life insurance. So that number one thing is spend time with your money, just like a relationship. Marriages get better when you spend quality time, right? And so does money when you spend that quality time with your money. Number two is not taking action with your money. There does seem to be a plethora of people who might have a great amount of cash just sitting in the bank or a savings account, and they're afraid to invest it. So that fear keeps them from investing it, but you're actually losing out a ton of money from that opportunity of investments. I'm not supposed to ever say anything's guaranteed or anything's safe, but there are very conservative investments that way outweigh the growth than a savings account or, God forbid, just a regular bank account. And then number three is not talking about it and just acting like money is like this hush hush dirty subject. And the more you talk about it, the more that you share what's behind the scenes, like it's a normal conversation, like, what did you have for lunch? Oh, where'd you get that dress? Just talking about it. There is something to be said about too many cooks in the kitchen and too many opinions, but I think that the devil, there's a lot of God and I feel in everything that I do, but so with that sometimes comes the devil. I think that the devil not doesn't use money for evil, but he will absolutely take insecurity, shame, and guilt and like lean in on that and like, ooh, okay, they feel guilty, shameful, and like they want to be quiet, like let's keep this a secret. And like, and once you open the door and just let it all out, that power over it is gone. You no longer give that power to
Money.
that scenario.
Do you believe that money is more of an energy exchange? So if you are living in an abundance mindset and you are more giving, do you believe more comes back? Opposed to people that live in a broke mindset, somebody that always is feeling broke, always feeling like they don't have enough money. Do you think our mindset actually affects the flow of money in our lives?
I do. And then there's also that important reminder that all money comes from God. So whether you and I have a financial exchange that originally came from God, and yeah, there's definitely a different scenario. So when you're faced with, I'm sorry, there's definitely a different energy around when you're faced with, let's say a scenario where all of a sudden you have to come up with this cash. And if your immediate response is, I can't afford it, I don't have it, that's it. You're stopped. You're, hard stop. There's no going forward from that. But if you're like, I wonder how God's gonna handle this one. I'm real curious to see how's that gonna drop down on my lap. And there's been countless times when that scenario has occurred. But there's also been times when something popped up, and I shared this at another podcast recently, and I'll be open about it in the past couple weeks, even probably a little bit more than that now. The kids' schooling, they went to a really well established, very good Catholic school with a really great I don't know why I can't think of the word. People want to go there. Can't think of the word. We were on the wait list forever. We finally got them in last year. What's the word?
Prestigious? Is that?
Yeah, prestigious, high demand. We were on the wait list forever. We finally got them in last year. We switched them from the other school. And that was a challenge, both financially and for other reasons. Obviously, because like we were switching them, we're thinking we're doing the best thing for you. We're putting you in the best school possible near us, and we're putting you closer to us than the other school that they were in. And just in the past couple of weeks, things changed, and all of a sudden the monthly amount was astronomically higher than before, and it was going to be due like that day. Like, because of the way that it worked out, timing worked out, paperwork worked out, we finally figured out what the tuition needed to be, and it was due that day if we wanted to keep their spot. It's a high demand school, there's people on the wait list. And there's something to be said about, like, if I had moved forward with it, that would have been from a place of fear, urgency, scarcity. I don't know what's going to happen to my kids. Am I going to mess them up? But it just wasn't going to happen that day. Just wasn't going to happen. That amount was not available. I'm just not going to BS you. It just wasn't there. And not only wasn't there, was it not there? I felt that when I thought about it, I really didn't have a plan that if I could make that payment that day, how that very same larger payment was going to happen every month. There is something to be said about moving forward and trusting, and I've done that many times.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, and it has paid off.
But I agree with you. And sometimes better doors open, or
Yeah,
doors that you're meant
exactly.
to walk through open.
Exactly. And you know what? All summer I had been thinking, I don't want to send my kids back to school. I love them. Like, I don't want to get up at 6 a.m. with them again, even though I'm doing it with the baby because he changed his freaking sleep schedule. But, figuring out what the heck they're supposed to wear that day, what special day it is, what lunch am I allowed to pack this day? Is it a church day? Is it a gym day? All the millions of forms. And now this fundraiser's happening, this event's happening, this celebration's happening. And can you
keep up with?
And then by the time they come home, they have put their best selves out there for complete strangers that I'm trusting to raise my children. I just wanted them home with me. And I felt like this was God, like, okay, let me
make the decision. So are you homeschooling?
So I am homeschooling. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And my son, who I was really worried about, my middle schooler, because he had such a tough year at that school. And to be honest, I just didn't feel like it was the best match, but he was begging me not to switch him again. And I'm like, well, honey, if it's meant to be, then God will provide. But let's start thinking about what other options. And then he started to get really excited about trying public schooling. He's never tried public schooling before, and we're gonna let him try it.
And I do believe God will provide.
I do too.
So we are going to be wrapping this up, but course corrected.
Yeah.
Marta and I are both, we both wrote a chapter in a book, but you are, Marta, kind of explain the book, because I know you're kind of the head of this.
Yeah, so Aurora Coriolis Publishing is our publisher, and they approached me with another colleague, and they said, we think you'd be, which I say this humbly, like, this really means a lot to me. It makes me feel really special. They approached me and they said, we think you'd be really good as the featured author for this. Will you bring women together to be in this book? And then will you help us promote it? We think you'd be really good for this. And so I was very careful that when all the applications came in this book, we wanted, max 12. So many applications flowed in. We accepted 17. And I wanted it to be people who were abundance minded and who were not going to give false false narratives about what the divine truth is, and that they were actually going to have wisdom. They were established, they're successful, and they're in alignment with that divine thinking. And so this book is a compilation of now 15 stories, because then we shuffled around some of the, I don't like the way that sounds. We shifted around some of the authors to a future project that we're already thinking about, that was going to be a better fit for them. And these are 15 stories of challenges turned into passion and purpose. So I particularly share my story on how losing my mom and being escorted out of her hospital room as she was dying by 2 security guards for bringing in my newborn baby, and how that story is so horrible, so ridiculous, so hard, that I felt like, God, what are you trying to tell me? And I get chills when I think about it. What are you trying to tell me? This is so effed up. I didn't get to be with my mom when she died. And she was my person and I was her person. I hate to say it. She has 5 children, had 5 children, but we were each other's person. And both my siblings, all my siblings who were there were like, this can't be happening. And it did. And so how that led to me being a financial rep and how I can help families
well, I think God
So
has
it
to
led
give
more to
you,
your purpose.
yeah, I think there's something, I think God provides us with painful situations because it has to prepare you for what you're going to be walking into.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
the course corrected coming out on September 4th.
Yes. Yeah. And September 4th, please look out, follow Jenny, follow me, and we'll be sharing the link to the book that morning. Please order the book that morning. While you're at it, order 10 copies. It's going to be really well priced for this bestseller campaign. And every dollar goes to Treasure House Fashions, which is a nonprofit that helps women in crisis. And then that night, we're going to be celebrating with a book signing and book launch. But the really powerful part about that evening is that you're going to be in the room with really wise women having a panel discussion about life. Like, you're going to leave like, oh my gosh, I know the secret to life now. And I have the book to keep that positive energy going as I read the stories. Yes, it's 15 stories. It's a quick read. I'm going to get through it probably in one day tomorrow as I unplug.
Well, I'm grateful to be a part of the book. I'm grateful to have
Yeah.
met you.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite quote? Before we wrap this up, what is a quote you live by?
When there seems to be no solution, there are usually 2 around the corner. And that's from my great uncle, who started a huge nonprofit that went worldwide, and it's no longer with us. But that's my quote.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for letting us interview you, Marta.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for your time, because we know.
Yeah, really.
Oh, perfect.